It's time to supercharge our hero power with Eliza DK. Now, the idea behind this deck is we are going to be using Eliza as a way to buff up our hero power to insane heights or even Ghouls Night. So, if you get, I don't know, 14 of the Elizas destroyed throughout the game, you'll have a 75 damage 4 mana spell. Doesn't that sound fun? And in order to do this, we are basically going to be playing Stegodon DK, except using Eliza as the main target. So things like Elise can give you additional copies of either Eliza or your Awakener of Souls, thus making it very easy to get a lot of them destroyed in a single game. Two important cards to watch out for are going to be Eliza and Elise. If you see one or the other, you're going to want to keep it. However, if you see both, keep Elise over Eliza. Then you're going to be looking for early game removal tools, especially Threads of Despair against those aggro matchups. And finally, any type of draw power card. With that all being said, let's look at some games. Okay, Mage. I am actually kind of curious if this deck will be better than it was previously after the changes that they made. I think it was actually pretty close to being playable, and I think they went with the safe bet of only buffing up by 1. I think if they really were worried about it being too strong, that's probably the safe bet. But I could honestly have seen it go down to 6 discovers instead of 7, and I think it would still be perfectly fine. We are trying to top the game that I had before the bouncing changes went out. I had a DK game where I got my ghouls up to 15 ones and did 75 points of damage, which felt really good. But hopefully, maybe we can get it here too. I also did briefly try, well, not briefly. I spent half of the day playing this deck and half of the day playing Quest Demon Hunter. And the versions of Quest Demon Hunter that I really want to showcase to y'all, because I made a real fun thumbnail, sadly doesn't work how I want. It will probably still be a video if I can get one really good game with that deck. But just be warned, it's not strong. It does not change anything. The changes don't change anything. I actually had like 4 or 5 different versions of that list that I was going through, but the one that I really want to showcase is a much slower variant of the list, and it just did not feel that well. Okay, I'm curious if this is going to be... I know they have some Protoss cards, but I'm curious if they're just running the Protoss cards so they have a better chance of like OTKing using the perfect Radiant Crystal. That feels so nice in this deck. This deck actually has a lot of flexibility of like how you get additional copies of your key Deathrattles. And honestly, this is probably the best Elise list that I've brewed up, even though I know we've been doing a lot of Elise decks. And also, apologies if I mispronounce Eliza. I have a sneaking suspicion I will sometimes say Eliza and sometimes say Elise when it comes to the 4 mana Deathrattle minion that this deck is centered around. Okay, Mixologist. Let's just slam down the location for now. Might as well get it on the board. I guess free? Yeah, freeze makes sense. And damage. I was hoping for a draw or resurrection, both of which would have been nice. Okay, there's Photon Cannon. It's going to look bad. But we're going to use Bob to draw 3. Come on, something cool. I don't... Okay. That's probably one of the worst minions it could be, but I guess we could randomly generate some cooler minions or cooler cards off of it. Okay, slam this down. Not bad, not bad. Maybe stall out some burn from them. It has to be hologram because anything else kind of screws with our game plan. Oh, that actually could be cool. I'm trying to think of exactly what Unholy Rune card I want, because Eliza is a Blood Frost card, right? Well, I mean, let's just see if we can get a little bit of... I was hoping for draw power. Okay, give us something cool. Okay, nah. I actually, you know what? Death Speaker could be funny. I actually, okay, so some thought process that I've had is I really want to do something with ESO, right? That'll be the next stream over on Twitch. Will be a bunch of ESO lists. I thought about doing Draenei DK, and then I realized there's no, like, good, like, sure, you have some Reborn synergy with the card that we just randomly generated, but there's no Draenei that you would have Reborn that you could easily have access to without also running like cards that would turn off ESO. So I kind of scrapped that idea. And I actually went through all the individual classes to see like which one would feel the best, or like ideas for individual classes. DK, of course, is going to be undead, but I have some spicy ones that I kind of want to try out. I might actually revisit the first one that I scrapped, which was pirates, but we shall see that. Pirate rogue in particular, because all of the bounce backs that you have in rogue, I thought that would be like a cool idea. Just, yeah. While the game was fast, it did not feel good. I will say this though, Draenei Warrior? Maybe? I actually have a few warrior lists. If this is Explosive Rune, I don't really care. We get rid of our Eliza. It is Explosive Rune, okay, so we get another 1 HP copy. Then we can go face. And I guess Hero Power? Also, the fact that they actually have the signature for that. Also, speaking of, like, monetization in Hearthstone, did you all see that they're making a Yogg skin and locking it behind a $160 gotcha? If it wasn't locked behind that, I would instantly have bought it, but I'm probably not going to. It's definitely one of the characters that I wanted for years to have a skin for, but I'm not paying that for it. You know what's actually funny? This is actually a game where we could easily use the Eternal Layovers as a way to, like, reset our Deathrattle minions here, just for fun. Depending on how many of them actually survive, right? The freezing is going to get annoying. The problem with this deck is, or at least versus the deck that we're facing right now, if they get a big enough Colossus, we might be kind of screwed. But hopefully they don't, right? Okay, I want to trade. I'm I'm going to test this. I think if I had played the Death Speaker before we did this comp, or put down the Goreblades, I think technically it would give us additional copies of Goreblade, but sadly it looks like it did not. So, you know, it is what it is. At least we know for future reference. Also, again, one of those cards that eventually I think I will get back to doing something with it. I just need some deck to exist that makes sense to run it in. I guess Stegodon technically would be the deck that it would fit in, but I don't know. It would also, well, is it 1 or 2 Unholy Runes? It is 1. Interesting. Ah, It's not worth it running it hard in this deck since we only have like one reborn target, which is our big awakeners. Keep getting rid of our minions. That's perfectly fine. We can slam down on our awakener. Get another copy. I kind of want to trigger this because it'll give us 2 copies. Perfect. And then I guess we can trade. They are getting big, though. Wait. Okay, so we have 5 additional Elizas on board. We're actually getting really close to my best game with this deck. Okay, please. Please stick around, and please don't end the game before I can pull this off. I mean, we can go face. And then Eternal Layover. This will fill the board with a bunch of more. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's get rid of the smallest one of these. I think we want to do it like this. Then Card Trader, Ghouls Knight would be pretty good. Oh, actually, we don't have space, so maybe not. Oh, I mean, I will take Ghouls Knight for later. Okay, and then just Hero Power. Go face 12. Oh, okay. So the top deck of the century would be Umbra. Yes, gain more armor. Yes, yes, yes. But this deck feels so nice. It makes your hero power so, so good. Like, this is a deck idea that I've been wanting to do for literal years, ever since DK came out. Not using Eliza in particular, but like, oh, I just mean in general, right? How do I want to do this? I want to make, do we have enough mana? This is 7 plus 3. Oh, we actually have perfect game here, if I do this correctly. Okay, we can get additional copy here. Like, we can go face. We've had 14 of them destroyed. And then we do this. Hang on, wait. Hang on, clear out our board. Let's go. It's a Ghouls Knight. Out. Let's show them who is in charge. This has to be what, like 19? Yes, it is. Oh, that's almost 100 damage, isn't it? GG. I'll keep the AoE just because this could be an aggro list. Yeah. To be fair, I knew choosing the card that we would probably end up having a bad time, but I thought it would be funny in case, because I know, okay, so Quest Mage, I know some people, and because I did this, run type pupil, right? And I was hoping that they would just keep it in their hand for a turn, and then we could have maybe like had a quest DK game, by copying it. But it is what it is. Okay, what are we burning here today? As much as I want to get the Stegodons, I am going to go with the Marrow. I'm going to go with the Stegodon. If this gives some weird behavior in our combo, I don't really care. Well, I do care, but fingers crossed it doesn't. Oh, so this deck is basically Stegodon DK. The only reason I didn't do Stegodon DK was because I thought this would be a more interesting version of it. Legitimately, that's the entire reason why we went with the Eliza Goreblade instead. I really love the idea of Eliza. Honestly, though, like, okay, let's look. We're at math. We're at 21 games, 57% win rate. So it's not like it's doing bad. Perfect. Yeah, yeah. The nice thing about this deck is, like, you just gotta survive until, like, turn 8. When you have, like, survive till turn 8 and you have high cultists in hand, you usually just win the game from that position. There's no real coming back for most opponents, actually, from there, because it just snowballs so quickly. Unless you're, like, super, super behind, but, like, you have so many, like, AoE tools and, like, other things you can easily do that it just feels good. I am going to slam down the Stegodon. I know it does dilute the pool for the resurrection, but, like, it would be maybe funny as, like, the third game in the video to get this one condition so we can backdoor our way into a Stegodon replay, you know, instead of, like, doing it ourselves. That could be cool. Okay, are they going to trade or are they just going to go face? They're going to go face. So, let's do this. Because the thing I really want, okay, so that's explosive. So I'm going to assume that is freezing. Because that wipes out the board. Well, mostly wipes out the board. But, like, next turn, we just slam down High Cultist, and then we go. Yeah, because they're going to have a turn where they just slam down Shutter Block, and that's not going to do any good for them. Like, this gives us 2 taunts and, like, bigger minions. And then next turn, we slam down Ziliax. Eternal Layover, actually, in this matchup would be really nice. Elusive, so we can't target anything for the rest of the game. Divine Shield, a little bit annoying. Taunt, also kind of annoying. A little bit of attack. Okay. Oh, fun fact. There's supposedly a bug going around with this card in particular, where if you change your hero, it'll make your minions adapt twice. I don't know how fun of a bug that is for, like, the majority of people, but it's just something worth mentioning. Also, I am amazed that it took this long for people to recognize, like, hey, this in the deck where you can adapt multiple times is a good idea just because of the fact you can maybe get poisonous and always act as a board clear. Okay, card trader. Okay, so we hit into here. And then I slam this down. Want to get rid of the divine shields. And then as soon as we get the other Awakener, we're good to go. Because the nice thing is I also find it so funny that this quest was printed in the same time that the Paladin quest was printed, because this quest here only works on when you play a minion and not when you summon a minion. Okay, like, that's okay. Actually, maybe it's not okay because it's just going to get buffed up big. Awakener would have been funny. Kind of want to go for Corpse Explosion, right? Not really Corpse Explosion, but it kind of acts as Corpse Explosion. Because, do this, right? No matter what, we're going to be popping. Then we get rid of the Poisonous minion. I'll take AoE. Why not? We actually kind of got lucky with, like, what they got off of the adaptations. No Wind Fury, no Poisonous. I would take Bob as a top deck. Eternal Layover. Actually, that's perfect. I think. I don't think anything keeps the Divine Shield, right? Yeah. And the nice thing is our Ceaseless Expanse is getting big enough, or I mean low enough where we can just slam it down without having to use Maladar. Really still running Jug. Huh. Neat, I guess. Okay, top deck Wakener. Umbra. Do I lose if I slam down Umbra this turn? I don't think I do, right? Actually, you know what? Let's do it like this. Okay. I was like, maybe we do the Umbra, but I think the better play is look for the Wakener and then go from there. I think actually, if we had hit the 2 Stegodons, we would have got game. Oh no, we would have been 2 damage off. I won't lie. If we please destroy this, hit the Stegodon at least once. The elusive also is one of those keywords that is very annoying a lot of the time, but like, I think we're fine. Okay, I think what we do is if they don't trade into this. Okay, trade Stegodon. Not Stegodon. Stegodon? Yeah, that is Stegodon. Okay, so we're just going to do this. If this wins me the game, it wins me the game. If it doesn't win me the game, then we go to backdoor Stegodon game. All right, now we're through the games. So that's my final thoughts of deck. So I ended up playing 30 games before the balancing changes and 30 games after the balancing changes, with a whopping 60% win rate after all those games, which is actually quite impressive. This deck actually feels incredibly strong, and honestly speaking, this is probably one of my favorite DK decks of all time. Using Eliza as a way to just make your Ghouls Knight bigger and bigger, or even your hero power, essentially giving you a really nice removal tool for 2 mana is really powerful, and honestly, not a lot of people are going to catch on to this. Stegodon is the card that most people are running in a very similar list, but honestly, I much prefer this version over it. Just feels a little bit more controlly and has a lot more burst damage potential for only 4 mana. Overall, though, there was one change between the first 30 games and the last 30 games. Morbid Swarm is a much better card than the Rite of Atrocity that I was using in the previous version. However, if you want to try to meme more Elizas, go with the rights instead. It is also worth mentioning I did briefly try the new legendary for DK, Staff of the Endbringer, but it just didn't feel that good in this list. I think this has potential for the future, it just doesn't fit here. Overall, though, if you're looking for a fun deck after the bouncing changes, try this one out. I know it is a little bit expensive on dust value, but it's so much fun and it'll catch a lot of people off guard. But like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.